Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we are going to be framing in around this storm shelter here behind me. So come along with us as I show you guys at home how to do it. Our walls are all framed up and done. The first thing that we're going to do after framing our walls is we're going to add our insulation. And the reason we're putting the insulation on now is because there's no access from the other side. This bunker is right in the way, so we're going to put our insulation on from the outside. And then once we get that done, we can sheathe it and get it where we like it. Put a 2x6 on top of it, something solid behind it, like a sheet of plywood. Use a fresh blade. Super easy to cut. 92 or 93. Right there. We get to play in the mud today, thanks to the rain. That's probably the most annoying part about doing construction. The rain. It causes so many problems. I have an idea. I'm going to take my OSB or my zip wall, line my insulation up on the bottom, over there, just like so. And I'm going to use my OSB or my zip system, sheathing in this case, and use that as my measuring stick. Easy. Don't gotta pull the tape measure out. Work smarter, not harder. Ooh, look at that. Way faster. I gotta do the same thing on a rip. We gotta make one that's 11.5 inches wide. So I'm gonna take my 2x6 that's a little bit longer, and I'm gonna put it on top of the insulation like so. In the same concept, I'm gonna push down on it, take my knife and run it down the side. I gotta take one more, rip it down to 8 inches or 9 inches right there. This little mark, like so. You don't have to be spot on with your exact measurement because this stuff will get shoved into place and it'll be pressure fit. So if you're off a little bit, it's not the end of the world. It's really just so you can fill the cavity with insulation. Here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. Now that the insulation is up by hand, we can come back and we can nail it with our slapstick. We put it on the inside of the 2x4 so that you can see the outside of the 2x4 for the decking purposes. Time to bust out Old Faithful right here. I know what's wrong with it.
It ain't got no gas in it.
Now that we got our insulation done, we're gonna start with our zip. We already got our first piece on, and we're gonna continue on around the building, little by little, a lot by a lot. I'm gonna go 6 inches around the entire perimeter. What we ended up doing is we used a 2x4 to push it, or what we call racking it. We racked the wall to where we like it, and then we nailed it flush with the edge of the sheathing. We weren't able to use braces, but the sheathing acted as a brace. So we nailed it flush down the one side, pushed it over, and then nailed the bottom plate, and now I can go back and fully nail off everything. Following my dots in the middle. Zip system already puts the little dots for your stud layout. Now I can take my next piece, drop it in like that.
You know what a B-roll is?
Yep. It's a beautiful shot. That's where they get the name from. Did you know that? Yep. I actually just made that up. Sounded pretty good, didn't it? I like to nail everything that I can reach from the ground first, and then I'll take my ladder and go back at the very end. It's a lot more faster, less climbing up and down, and then I can go up the ladder, nail off the top 2 feet. It's a lot faster and a lot less work for me. Since I'm up here already, David's gonna pass me the tape. He's gonna get the bottom, I'm gonna get the top part. We're gonna work together and we'll tape all of our joints, and then we'll come back at the very end and we'll roll them with the roller. I'll take my ladder and move it over. I'll hang it from the top. If I'm ahead of David, I'll leave it hanging like that. He can reach it and finish the bottom. Always make sure to roll the tape after you get done applying it. It helps it adhere better. The bunker's coming along smoothly. All of our zip wall is on the perimeter of the building. David's taping around the water pipe right there. And now we're gonna move on to doing the roof. Let's climb on up and do the roof. Cool thing is up here on top of this bunker, I have an entire scaffolding to walk upon. I'm gonna mark straight up from the decking right here. I'm gonna go level and I'll make a mark on my gutter like that. From there, I'm gonna go over 5.5 inches, and that will give me my space for my brick and be the final cut for the gutter. Now that I got both sides cut on the gutter, I can take out this middle section. We're gonna save this piece of gutter for them to put it on the outside of the little addition. I'm gonna start my layout. I went ahead and added my 17 inches for my soffit, and now I'm gonna go every 2 feet, or 23.25, really and truly. So, boom. 47.25, that makes it to where the 4 feet breaks right on the center of the rafter. Now that I have my layout marked out, I'm gonna go back and square my marks. Mark over 1.5 inches. David's using that 2x4 as a plane. I'm gonna go back 1/2 inch off of it, just like that. Put one nail here in the middle to hold it. And then I'm gonna take my measurement from that nail, go off my top plate over here, because I want all my rafters to be the same. It is 117 1/8 to the corner. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, like that. Same thing over here. Let me check it. That'll work. To figure out this roof and the angle, it's super simple. You don't have to do any math. What David's gonna do is he's gonna cut a 4.5 inch block, and that is the height of our seat cut for our rafter. And I'm gonna temporarily nail it onto the top plate right here, like so. I'm gonna take my chalk line, put it on this corner, shoot it all the way to that top part up there, and then I'm gonna put my speed square up against my chalk line, and it'll tell me the exact degrees on the top of the cut and the bottom of the cut, like that. Put my chalk line right there, speed square up against it, 63 degrees on top. I'm gonna put a nail up top to hold my chalk line. I'm gonna pull it tight, wrap it around it, scoot it down to the bottom, like that, nothing fancy. Holds it nice and tight. Come down here to the bottom of my speed square, bump it up against it. I got 80 degrees. Yeah. On the bottom, it's 80, bro, for the seat cut. Now I can grab my measurement from that block right there to the point up here. 1/16 and an 1/8. And that is how we figured out our roof. We figured it all out in probably, what, 2 minutes, David? In 2 minutes we were able to figure that out? It's that simple. Don't make it too complicated. Our first rafter's on. Works perfectly using those tricks. I'm gonna add another 2x4 underneath down here for more support on these angle cuts. Now to help with my tape measure, I'm gonna put a nail in that corner. I'm gonna pull every 2 feet. I just hopped down from doing the roof. I'm gonna quickly do a little scaffolding around for me to do my soffit, but also for double purpose, the scaffolding is gonna allow David to use it as like little sawhorses for cutting the roof. Makes it a little bit easier for him. For our scaffoldings, we always go 16 inches to the center. We've found that that's been the best practice for us. Got the scaffolding done all the way around the little bunker. Now David can use it as a little scaffolding, which will help him cut the roof, and that will help me do the soffit and fascia and brick freeze. About 10 minutes of work saves about an hour of climbing up and down a ladder, and we use it pretty much with all scrap material. Now we're on to the cornice. We're gonna finish this up real quick, and then we can go straight to our decking after we get the frame up of our cornice. .41 7/8. Two by sixes it is, bro.
41 to 8.
Yeah, dos. Gotta make these notches a little bit bigger because we ran out of 2x4s. We're gonna use 2 by 6s now, which is fine. Not the end of the world. All right, tell him where you want it, bro. What he's doing is he's using his eye to check down the side of it. I'm gonna call you LeBron James because you can throw. Our cornice is now done all the way around the perimeter up here on the top. So the first thing I'm gonna do immediately following that, I'm gonna start up my first sheet of decking right here. And thankfully I did my layout every 8 feet. So I should be able to put my decking flush over there and land 8 feet on the center of this rafter, and then continue on. We're gonna do a brick pattern. So we're gonna do a first piece of 8 feet, second piece of 4 feet, and that will split the joints right in the middle of each other. We're moving right along on our decking for our roof, getting it going. Cool. We just got our last little rips across the top. The decking is all complete. Now that it's all complete, I'm gonna hop down and finish my cornice package underneath. I'm gonna do my fascia, soffit, 1x4 brick freeze, and so forth. But I'm gonna do that from down below on the scaffolding that we did earlier. We're gonna start with our soffit now. Last piece of soffit going in. A little tricky. The next thing we're gonna do is our brick freeze. We mark back 5 inches on our soffit from the sheathing out 5 inches, and then we pop a line. Seven and 3/4. Now that the framing for the brick freeze is done, I can go back and add my 1x4 for it. This will allow the brick to be tucked in behind it. To the shore right here, bro. 17 and 1/4. Long to short, 6 and 1/4. Now that our brick freeze is done, we're going back and adding this decorative 1x2. The reason we're adding it is because the house already has it, so we want it to match. We're gonna start taking out our scaffolding. Since all of our soffit, fascia, and trim is all complete, the very last thing that we're gonna do is add this plastic to the bottom of the wall. This allows for water to run down the wall, down and out below the brick, or through the weep holes that are on the brick. All we do is we take our little slapstick, we staple it to the wall, and we add a piece of zip tape across the top to make sure that it's adhered to the wall, and also to help with water running off, not getting behind the plastic. And then our corners, we just cut them in the corner, like so. Wrap it around the building, and keep on going. That's a wrap for this video. Thank you for tuning in with us as we framed in around this storm shelter. In the meantime, until the next one, keep on building.